Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well today. Sorry I'm running a little late. I just come out of prayer just a few minutes ago. It is said that in masonry, before you before you take upon yourself any great, um, anything really, before you do anything, you should always invoke the blessings of deity. So, many of you know I have my altar thing done going on. So, um, hey, I had to go take care of that first, really. So today we're going to talk about the Hierophant. The Hierophant. And I know many of you are wondering the Hierophant, where is that coming from? Well, if you are in the primitive rites or the rites of Memphis, Mizraim, or any of those esoteric rites, you would know what that means, what the Hierophant means. You'll understand what that word. It's special. That word is very special. And just to share with you the definition of that word. So the Hierophants was priests, and they indulged themselves in the esoteric knowledge. So it really means in the type of relationship that people have with each other, it means that you're in this particular group to pass along knowledge. You know, its structure is is secretive. Okay, so when the Hierophants taught, they taught amongst themselves in this particular group of knowledge and well learned individuals, and then as a group, it was just uh, knowledge being passed down. So when you think about the Hierophant or the priest, this was their job. It wasn't something that they passed down that was written. It was from word. It was from their words or ear from just from being amongst them, having that conversation. It was passed down verbally. It wasn't something that was written down. So to be amongst the Hierophants was that you was amongst the initiate people who really understood and learned the esoteric in life, and that's what really the Hierophants was all about. And that's unique, and I like that. Being a part of the primitive rites, um, I found that the esoteric teachings of Freemasonry is special. It is really special, and that's what I find. I find that to be enlightening. And when I go to my what we call the Senate, those particular meetings dealing with the esoteric side of Freemasonry, to me, that's more special than going to my lodge meetings because of what we teach in these particular meetings. And I can tell you that it is more esoteric than anything you would ever find in Freemasonry in your three particular degrees. It is definitely that. Even if you was part of the York Rite or Scottish Rite body, it is just more in the primitive rites than anything else. If you are really trying to get a grip on what you are learning in Freemasonry, the primitive rites is a place to go. Now, some of you may say the primitive rites, what is that? Some of you, oh, that's a bunch of this and that's a bunch of that. You know, I often say this, until you have been introduced to things in your life, you will never know. You will never know. You will never know what it's like uh, to have unless you have not had. I mean, a lot of people say, well, you know what? If I had $1 million, I wouldn't go buy this, I wouldn't go buy that. That's that is the reason you don't have $1 million because you wouldn't buy. You don't understand the value of money. So that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But let's have this conversation about the Hierophant. Let's do that and have an understanding about the initiation within the primitive rites because I enjoy those rites and being initiated into those rites is something special to me. So I'm going to share this with you real quick. so you would kind of get a glimpse on where I'm going. It goes, so this is an ancient text, by the way. It said, one day the disciple found himself with the Hierophant and standing beside him. And he said to the master, and he said, my son, the time is coming when truth will be revealed to you. For you already have seen it, and it's in the depths of your heart. They refine and divine the divides of you. And he goes on and say, your heart is pure of love and self-denial. You have earned that right to improve your worthiness, but no one can see Osiris' light without dying and being resurrected first. We shall take you to the carpet. We shall take you to the carpet, and don't be afraid. You're one of us already. You know I messed up going through that reading. I was trying to remember it right off the top of my head. But the funniest thing about that text is the mere fact that we practice the ancient custom in Freemasonry, and most of us don't even get it. And I find the reason we don't get it is because a lot of times we're bickering about small stuff in Masonry. How are you, brother? Oh, yeah, I'm doing fine. I appreciate that. Greeting, the Hierophants are the educators and designers of the student instructor. Absolutely. What's going on, Alex? Appreciate you, brother. How you doing today? Hierophants was once known as Grand Masters also. Oh, yeah, Hierophants was once known as Grand Masters. What I'm trying to convey to you today is that in this thing we call Freemasonry, it's supposed to unite all men from various backgrounds and races. But what I find is that with the uneducated Freemason, he will never know. And when I say an uneducated Freemason, he's totally missing the very thing that he says that he loves so much. And it's right there in front of his face. I hear so many people debating these different topics in Freemasonry. And it's sad. It's really sad. And I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not always right. So when I find myself in a predicament and I'm not right, I go back and reread. I want to make sure that I give out the proper information. So tonight when we talk about the Hierophant and what it means, and as the brother Alex he put it right here, he says the Hierophants are the educators and the designers of students and instructions. When you see that, we don't relate that to being in Freemasonry, and it's definitely a Freemasonry. See, because let me tell you, when I've gone to visit various jurisdictions and I see things that I'm not familiar with, and I say we don't do that in my jurisdiction. Just because you don't do certain things in your jurisdiction, don't make it wrong. And when I say it doesn't make it wrong, that means that when you're traveling to various lodges and outside of the country, things are not going to be done the way you do them. So stop trying to compare your jurisdiction with someone else's jurisdiction. That is one of the most craziest things I see Masons do. And because you do it this way doesn't mean that it's right. Because somebody else does it over there doesn't mean that it's right. You have to go visit. You have to get outside of your bubble and go and see for yourself this thing we call Freemasonry. And most will never do it. They won't. They're too afraid. I know this for a fact. Although there is mutual recognition amongst the Grand Lodges of State and Prince Hall, most of them don't intermingle. They don't. They don't. I tell you what, traveling man, I know you're on tonight. How many Prince Hall brothers actually come and visit your lodge monthly? And you're a mainstream brother. You're African American, black, however you want to put it. And you're part of a mainstream Grand Lodge. How many Prince Hall brothers go visit your Grand Lodge or your lodge? Not just Grand Lodge, but your lodge. How many? Is it 10 a month, 5 a month? I'm just saying that it doesn't happen that way. See, we in Masonry need to be honest about what Masonry is and what it's not. And stop trying to tear down people. I find that it's very sad that most Masons, I ain't gonna say all, most Masons are not taught very well. They're not. It's true. You can tell me, you can call me whatever you want to call me. Most Masons are not taught well at all. Most Masons try to compare their jurisdiction with other jurisdictions. Most Masons take what is being taught in their lodge as truth. They do, and it's not. And the reason I say it's not truth, because once you go out and you begin to search and find for yourself and read for yourself, everything that you get in your lodge, you're going to have a second opinion about it. No doubt about it. What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. You will never forget how to enter. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, so you say you got Prince Hall brothers who travel to your lodge from the outer city all the way from Detroit on a regular basis. And that's great. And that's great. However, let's be honest. Let's be real honest. Most Grand Lodges, state mainstream lodges, don't see Prince Hall as their equal. That's the truth. You can call me whatever you want to call me. They don't see them as their equal. Now, you may say, well, we're their counterparts. No, I ain't talking about counterparts. I'm talking about equal. There's a difference between being counterpart and equal. You know, there's a difference. So tonight, we're talking about the Hierophant and the instructions that they give to the students and the initiation that they go through. A lot of brothers who are in mainstream Grand Lodges, a lot of them are part of Primitive Rites Freemasonry. Oh, you didn't know that? Hawkins, you must be crazy. You lying. You lying. No, brother, I'm not lying. There are quite a few mainstream white Masons who are part of Primitive Rites. They are. And they understand exactly what I'm saying. And you know what? When you go see these magnificent lodges, brothers of the craft, ask yourself, everything in there is of Egyptian text. Everything. Ask yourself, why is that? Even your ritual, and I've said it before, the whole ritual of the Masonic organization is based on the continent of Africa. If you're a Mason, just pick it up and read it. Look at the words. Joppa. Where else you going to find Joppa? Unless it's on the continent. Solomon's Temple. Where you going to find that? Unless it's on the continent. I'm just saying. We're so caught up in this thing of going back and forth till we don't even begin to realize we're part of something special. We don't realize it. And that's the sad truth. I forgot how having studied in 9 years. Ooh, you can say I'm reawakening from a long sleep. But let me see. But that's an opinion, not biased on any, not based on any facts. Oh, depends on where you at. You're right. It is an opinion, but it really depends on where you at. I know this for a fact. You talking about facts? California Grand Lodge, free and accepted Mason, mainstream. In the early 2000s, no, I'll say the late 90s, brought in their second African-American Mason. Oh, we talking late 90s. Two African-American Masons just joined a mainstream Grand Lodge of California. I'm just saying. See, y'all want to sing Kumbaya. But I'm letting you know the real. You know, this thing of black Masons and white Masons coming together, this thing is new. This thing of visitation between various jurisdictions, this thing is new amongst PHA and mainstream. Now I would tell you this, as quiet as it kept, there were visitation going on long before this ever happened on a bigger scale. Because white Masons did at times allow black Masons to come and sit in their lodges, just as black Masons allow white Masons to come in and sit in their lodges, but it was kept quiet and hush hush. That's a fact. I'm not talking about an opinion there on that traveling man. That's a fact. Now I would say that Masonry has come a long way as far as dealing with various jurisdictions. I would say that, you know. But as far as where we're at today in the knowledge in Freemasonry, liking. The knowledge in Freemasonry is liking because brothers and sisters are not really being taught the arts and sciences of the craft. They're not being taught the esoteric of the craft. They're not being taught the true essence of Freemasonry, the Order of the Eastern Star. They're not getting it. What you're getting is dinners, tickets, banquets, and let's go out and party. That's what you're getting. And I know that's what you're getting. That's a fact. If you are a Mason in any jurisdiction, when was the last time you met with your group of brothers and you really got deep into Freemasonry on the esoteric and esoteric side of things to have a better understanding of the craft and what is being taught? When have you done that? Why are you so afraid of these primitive right degrees that most brothers who are ancient, free, and accepted Masons have? Why are you afraid of them? Oh, your Grand Lodge doesn't recognize them. Yeah, your Grand Lodge may not, but your brothers do. Your brothers do. That's the truth. So as we begin this journey into Freemasonry, as we begin this journey into the Order of the Eastern Star, you must understand this one thing or multiple things, that you are a part of something great. The ideal is we've allowed people to come in and sniff out the light that is offered in Freemasonry and also the Order of the Eastern Star. We'll allow people to come in and be our treasurers and steal money from us. We've done that. I ain't talking about a few $1,000s either. There are people on both sides, be it black or white, who've come into their jurisdiction and their lodges and stole money. That's the truth. You are the gatekeepers of Freemasonry in the Order of the Eastern Star. When you allow somebody to come in and do that, what does that say about you? Oh, it's that person, right? But you did the interview. You had the opportunity to drop a black ball. But your boys, see your boys. Your girls, see your girls. They come in and cause disharmony. So the teachers, the Hierophants of the organizations, your grand lectures and all of them, are they giving you these instructions? Are they really teaching what Freemasonry is? Or are they giving you the glitz and the glow? The same lectures over and over. Why they don't talk about the Hierophants and the priests and what they taught and the secretness behind their teachings? Why they don't do that? Why they don't talk about the initiation of Christ? Oh, you didn't think he was initiated into anything? Boy, I tell you, you got a ways to go. Yeah, Christ was definitely initiated. If you believe that there was a Christ. I'm just saying, some don't. But I would tell you from my own reading that, yeah, that was a process for the Christ to ascend. That's why Christ said, me and my Father are as one. And you can be that way too. Be ye as perfect as I am perfect. Most of us walk around, there's no man perfect but Christ. What? Not after the man that you believe in has said that you can be perfect? Now you're going to give me that bull crap? Come on. You don't believe it anyway. You don't think that you can raise somebody from the dead, do you? You don't believe half the stuff that's being taught in your churches. And, that's not to clown any particular religion or anything like that. But I'm just saying. I'm looking at it from a different point of view. I had an opportunity last week to be on stage with the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, my Masonic brother. And I watched him at the age of 86 stand there for 2 hours and lecture and break down some things that really was at odds to a lot of people in the audience, including myself, and how he was able to, I mean, the man is sharp to be 86. Sharp. So when you see people like that, I would consider him a Hierophant, a teacher, someone that helps elevate the next person. I can see him as a Hierophant. I certainly can. The Grand Lodges in the U.S. don't have jurisdiction over the primitive degrees. I never said they did. All I'm saying is that they don't recognize those degrees. But a lot of members that are in mainstream have those degrees and those rights. They call them college degrees. And you can Google that and it'll come right on up. The Hierophant, commonly known as the Holy One, was the Asiatic black man who mastered the hermeneutics and developed, the Moabite's instructions. Alex, you on one tonight. Ignorance, superstitions, and fear. You know what? When you talk about ignorance, superstition, and fear, if you are a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, you should know exactly what that means. You should know exactly what that means. Once again, if you know what ignorance, superstition, and fear, if you are a 32nd Scottish Rite Freemason, you should know exactly what that means. So you walk around with all of this glitz and glow. I'm a regular this and I'm a regular that, and I can go here and I can go there, but you have no knowledge. You have no knowledge of self. And you call yourself a Mason. You don't even know who you are in the big picture. I tell you what, and this is going to sound crazy to some of you. If you ever go to a large cemetery, look around and check out some of the headstones and see how they're made. And the reason I say that is because in a lot of these large cemeteries, the big, beautiful ones, the grass is manicured like if you was on a golf course, those type of cemeteries, you would see Masonic emblems all over the place, big, huge Masonic emblems. You will. You got to ask yourself, why is that? You have to question everything. And when I say question everything, is because everything is not always as it appears. Also in Freemasonry. Freemasonry is supposed to unite men of all creeds and religion. That's what it's supposed to do. But men who come in it divides it. They do. Because that's what they do. They divide it. So look, if you want to call in tonight, that number is 619-985-1184. We can have this conversation about the Hierophant. We can have this conversation about the teachings in Freemasonry, what you're supposed to be taught. See, Masonry is supposed to abide by the moral law. Okay? Masons are supposed to be one that is supposed to unite. Okay? And because of their initiation that they have gone through, it brings them together because they understand a particular part in their lives that unites them. But Masonry, as we call it today, was not always called Masonry. It wasn't. This is where the Hierophant comes into play, because they were the teachers, they were the instructors. The high priests were those individuals. If you are in the royal art degree, you know that when the high priest went into the tabernacle to pray, he had on bells. Why did he have on bells? With the incense as he carried and walked through the tabernacle. Huh? To purify. To see that he was without sin. And if he was with sin, if he was found with sin, he drops dead. And they take their rope and they drag his butt out of the tabernacle. If you are a Royal Arch Mason, you should know that. You should understand why you walk through those veils. This really are arcs or arches. And through each veil, you have a sign, a word that is given that gets you to the next veil. There are some good teachings in Freemasonry as far as esoteric and how to deal with situations and circumstances. This is what makes the fraternal order so beautiful. But a lot of people ain't catching it. And they're Masons. What's up, Ronnie? What's going on with you? Oh, yeah, definitely, Brother Lewis. Use special signals and with his hands. That's how they was able to get through. And I'll tell you what, if you look around at some of the prominent statues, especially if you're in Philly, you can see how people are standing in these statues. And you will know why they stand that way, because each statue that they're standing in a particular degree. If you're in Philly, you look at some of those statues that they got, and you can identify if that person was in a particular degree or right. You can identify that. Greetings, everybody that's coming on. I appreciate you. The words superstition and religion are the same word in the Bible based on translation. Oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me the word superstition and religion are the same word based on translation? Oh my. Some people can't handle that. What do you mean my religion is superstitious? Brandon Lewis, a lot of them got a long way to go, brother. They got a long way to go before they get there. Greetings to everybody who's coming on. Tony, they don't have the degree. You are misunderstanding what you read. The college right has jurisdiction of those degrees, but do not confer them. I'm a member of the Grand College. Wait a minute. Did you just say the Grand College of Right has jurisdiction of those degrees that I'm talking about? Am I understanding that? But does not confer them because you're a member? But you have the degrees, but you don't confer them, but you study them. See? I mean, come on now. Talk back to me. Come on, traveling man. Mr. Scott, come on. Now, you part of mainstream. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You just said, Tony, they don't have the degrees. You said, Tony, they don't have the degrees. You are misunderstanding what you read. The Grand College of Right has jurisdiction of those degrees. What degrees are those? Tell me, what degrees are those that they have rights over? I'm just asking. So are you involved with the esoteric part of Freemasonry? That part which gives you a better understanding of the inner apprentice, fellow craft, master mason, and everything else that comes along with it? Are you, traveling man? I'm just asking. And it's funny, traveling man. I'm gonna say this. Traveling man. For someone like yourself who don't consider me to be a Mason, you don't. You don't. You don't. We showed talking tonight. Just saying, you come on the show, very respectful and everything. But for someone who don't consider me to be a Mason, I'm just saying, just trying to get an understanding. Just trying to get an understanding. Acts 17:22, NIV, very religious. Okay. Oh, you study the esoteric side of Freemasonry, so you know exactly what I'm saying then, right? Do we have an understanding? Since you said I was misrepresenting, or I didn't quite know what I was saying in regards to the college rights. I'm just trying to get a better understanding. What's up, Brother Joseph? How you doing? From Texas. Welcome aboard. So we're just getting a little bit in here tonight. We're talking about Hierophants and who are the Hierophants? The instructors, the high priests, those who gave knowledge and passed it down from one to another on the esoteric side of things. Something that we don't get in our lodge meetings. The reason we don't get it is because a lot of us are just happy being Masons. I'm a Mason. I have certain signs, grips, and words. It's deeper than that. This is what I enjoy about when I travel and I come across brothers who are in the primitive rites, and we can have these discussions and topics based upon what we know in the primitive rites, and talk about great masters and Hierophants and how they're supposed to be educators and how they're supposed to bring in that extra in regards to Freemasonry, which we don't get. If you're a Mason, you tell me if you get that. How many of you have esoteric lodges or have a study to where you can go and you study the esoteric side of Freemasonry, not by yourself, but with a group of other Masons? How many of you do that? Oh, maybe he respects me as a black man. Oh, okay, I'll take that. How many of you have groups in your lodges or sisters in your chapters where you guys get together and really kind of break down this whole thing that you are a part of? I'm just asking because I know in my jurisdiction we do that. We have quarterly meetings. Greetings. What's up, John? How you doing? The Grand College of Right doesn't confer any degrees, but they are nice degrees. The mainstream brothers that you thought had the degrees don't have them. Well, if you study if you study the degrees and your jurisdiction don't offer them, but they have what they call a college. Come on, man. Come on now. They know the works. Come on, you traveling man. No. Come on now. And that's all the most thinks is because they are not taught. Oh, wow. They're scared to them. Most are in the mystery schools and asleep. Yeah, a lot of them asleep. The more, let me tell you, when you learn something and it is contradictory to what you've already been taught, it totally shakes you. It totally shakes you. When you learn something that contradicts what you thought that you knew, and then you go find out for yourself, it shakes your being. This is why in my jurisdiction, in my lodge in particular, Hosea Lodge number 7, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Mason, we tell individuals that we're going to shake you up. We tell them. So don't come in thinking that, oh, well, this is going to be a cakewalk. No, we're going to shake you up. And when I say shake you up, the things you thought you knew, we're gonna drop some books on you. You're going to have to come a whole nother way. And this is why I am where I'm at. This is why I enjoy the jurisdiction for which I'm a part of. Because you're not going to come in, I went through the initiation. I was initiated, passed, and raised, and it was da-da-da. No, no, no. It's a whole nother ball game. You're going to be looking at stuff, and you're going to be like, damn, didn't see that. Oh, snaps. Oh, this is a different ball game. This is about where I'm at. See, people can talk about how regular they are, how much lineage they have. They can talk about all of that, where they can go and look. You can have all of that. You can talk about all of that. But to have it and not understand it is a waste of your time and your energy. This is why it's important for brothers of the craft and sisters of the order to really get involved with the organization and just stop selling banquet tickets and dinner tickets. There's nothing wrong with it. We all do it because we want to have a great dinner, a great grand session. I got it. But every meeting shouldn't be that way. At every Masonic meeting that you have, there should be a lecture given. Period. Be it an apprentice, fellow craft, master mason. This is my opinion based upon the way I was taught, based upon what we do here in this jurisdiction and those lodges that are in this jurisdiction. Okay? All lodges and jurisdictions are not the same. And some of them you will never get esoteric or you'll never get any of that. You would never get lectures after your meetings in some lodges. You won't get it. And this is why I tell brothers who come and join Freemasonry that every lecture that is given, you should take it and put it in a notebook. That is the beginning of your foundation in Freemasonry. And look up the words when people are talking to you in regards to Freemasonry. Look those words up and see what they really mean. And just stop taking, oh, well, he said it. No, go look up the words. Shibboleth. Go look it up. And see what it really means. Go look up Boaz. Go see what those words really means. Yeah, I said it. Go look them up. Go look up and see what the two pillars really represent. And why you have a globe on top of them. Understand the craft. And then when you travel, you can enjoy while you're traveling. Because most of us don't look these words up and don't have a clue of what they mean to understand. Oh, so just like your master word, the one you get when you're raised up. You know that word? Look it up and see what it really means. Gives you a different perspective about the craft and what you're a part of. This is the uniqueness of Freemasonry. This is the beauty of Freemasonry. And then when you talk to your brothers of the craft, when you talk to the sisters who've gone through those 5 degrees of the Order of the Eastern Star, understand how they relate to your life. That's what makes it so beautiful. And this is what I personally enjoy about the craft. See, people can talk all the mess they want about me. Yeah, people like to talk. But watch me do the work. Watch me do the work. And when April comes, you'll see exactly what I'm saying. Watch me do the work. Because right now, there are Masons that's probably hating themselves. And when I say hating themselves, because they're part of an organization, they're not getting anything out of it. The Grand College is a national body and has nothing to do with any Grand Lodge. Okay, that's cool. But they study the esoteric, don't they? They study the primitive rites, don't they? Come on, man. They do. Oh, man. Yeah, Jason. I was there, man. Greetings. Yeah. It's about understanding the symbols and allegories. It is. It is truly about understanding the symbols and allegories, but once you understand them, then what? What's the next phase? See, what I'm finding in Freemasonry is that there's a lot of people who are Masons, a lot of individuals who are Masons, but they don't have a clue. They don't. Yep, a lecture, not a sermon from last Sunday. And this is the craziest thing because most Masons, when they're in their lodges, most black Masons, most black, predominantly African American lodges, I'm talking to you. You always saying amen in the name of Jesus. You do it. Oh, come on. Yeah, you do it. You do it. Have you ever actually I mean, look, in Masonry, there's no name placed on the creator. Have you ever asked yourself, why is that? Have you ever asked yourself, why do Masons, I'm talking about those enlightened Masons, not something that somebody told you and you just follow along, but for those of you who know, why come most Masons don't know why they don't ever claim a particular God in Freemasonry? Have you ever thought of that? We're talking about the Hierophant tonight, the teachers and educators of Freemasonry. We're talking about individuals who get initiated into Freemasonry, but don't have a clue about what it's really all about and understand how to use it to help benefit their lives and how they can actually, because, wow, I've had so many conversations with some of your brothers that when you send me a book and I begin to read that book, it shakes me and then I have to go in a different direction. It does. It really does. It's exactly how it should be. Always. Thank you. I appreciate that. Everyone's opinions on the symbolism of Masonry is not the same. It's like the Bible study. Everyone's opinions on verses in the Bible is not the same. But that's the uniqueness. Let me share this with you, Brother Reuben. The mere fact that it's not the same gives you another perspective. So if we're looking at something and you see another perspective from it and you share with me, I should be open to what you're trying to share with me. So now I get a better perspective on what I'm looking at, not just my own, but your perspective. And the same as vice versa, you should have a different perspective. Once we have shared these perspectives on this verse or on any of the symbols and allegories, teachings in Freemasonry, we come out differently. We see things differently than the average person who sees that same symbol, because now we have conspired. We have come together to educate and talk about what we're seeing and how it applies to the work that we do in Freemasonry on the allegory, on the symbolism. And then we're able to say, wow, okay, I see your point of view. I got that. And then once you bring them together, it gives you a whole nother perspective. That's the uniqueness. That's the beauty. This is why it's important for those individuals who give lectures, not a sermon, in your lodge, to have a perspective to give to you and then tell you where they got the information from, let you go read it and get your own perspective, and then you combine them together. It gives you just a complete and better perspective. The same way it would be when you read the Bible. And this is another thing that I find that is interesting. Most of your preachers never preach from Revelation. You need to ask yourself why. I just want to throw it out there to let you know that most of them don't. That's a fact. So when you say amen, what are you really saying? Brother Lewis, I see what you posted, you know? And this is the thing that gets me in Freemasonry. You know, brothers talk about how beautiful it is, but yet they don't demonstrate the love of Freemasonry. They talk about how it's supposed to unite men, but yet they're so divided and torn. They talk about how Freemasonry and its symbols help to develop them in their life, but they can't really break it down to the next person who really wants to be a Mason, but they can't break it down to them. Oh, I'll talk to you later. See, I've gone to places where brothers say, hey, you know what? I want you to come to my lodge meeting. Okay, cool. And then when you get ready to go, say, hey, bro, you know what? We ain't ready tonight. You know why they're not ready? You know why they're not ready when you are a visitor of another jurisdiction and they invite you to come and they say, oh, brother, you know what? We're not ready. You know why they're not ready? Most don't know the word. They don't. So they feel embarrassed. And then they don't want to invite you because they feel a certain way, that you're going to look at them differently. That's the truth. Absolutely, Robert. Absolutely. Yeah, they know the passwords. They know signs and symbols, but they don't know what they really mean. Humpty Dumpty sit on the wall. Humpty Dumpty, great big fall. King man could not back. You know what? Speaking of, I don't want to get off topic. Ooh, that's a good one though. I don't want to get off topic on that one. Freemasonry shook my religious belief, and so did the state. What I'm saying. And look, real Masons, I'm talking about Masons who do some in-depth study. They see things totally different than your average Mason. They do. See, the average Mason talks about I'm regular, you're clandestine, I can go here, I've done this. The average Mason has no clue about what's really taking part in Freemasonry. Not based on your jurisdiction. Okay? I'm talking about the relationship that Masons have outside and beyond their jurisdiction. See, the average Mason is not able to develop those relationships because he is too busy doing other things and probably tossing up a few and out partying. So he don't know how to maneuver and to actually travel. He doesn't. He doesn't. And that's the beauty of Freemasonry. Bro, 99.9 don't even know what a Hierophant is when you really say, oh my God. Oh, you're killing me with that one. Oh, I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see it coming. Hey, big pill, right? I'm just saying. Most brothers and sisters, you guys go to church and the preacher be preaching and you're, hey man, and you're catching the Holy Ghost. You can't catch the Holy Ghost. I got one better for you. Look at your brothers and sisters over on the continent. Not your Christian brothers and sisters over on the continent. I'm talking about those sisters and brothers who indulge themselves in the traditional worship of on the continent of Africa. Check them out. Because I'm nowhere, me as an individual, I've grown every year. And I say that because the way I was last year, I see my growth. You know, I see my growth because those who are around me, you know, they say, hey man, damn, I remember last year, or I remember this, or I remember I was never really involved as a Mason in the esoteric side of things. I thought that's like, what? Oh no, never. But once I began to have more books in my library and was introduced to other things, I was enlightened by different teachers and instructors in the craft. And it shook me. It shook me. I go to church just because. Me personally, I go to church just because. And I listen to the minister teach. I listen to them preach. And I'm like, okay. They don't move me because their words don't have life in them. Most ministers who preach, their words don't have life in them. So most people who sit there, they just sit there. And they leave church and say, oh, he gave an awesome sermon. But did you even pay attention? Did you even break down what he tried to give to you? Or did you just, were you just, as an instructor, as someone, as a grand law lecturer, those words that person is giving you, those lectures that person give you are supposed to be able to lift you up, put life into you, where you're going to say, I'm going to look that shit. I'm going to go look that up for myself and see if he or she is telling me the truth. That's what those words will do to you. If you got a real good book and it's breaking some stuff down to you, it makes you go look at other books. That's what it does to you. But if you're in a lodge and the person who's giving a lecture and you falling asleep and is dead, I've been in a lodge where I fell asleep at initiation. It was a dead initiation. And I mean, they did everything by the book. I mean, it was word for word out of the book. And I'm at awe because they didn't miss a beat. But it was boring because it had no life. The initiation, the passing and raising is supposed to have life in those degree work. When you get into the esoteric side of Freemasonry and the Memphis, Mizram, and those degrees, they has life in them. See that most lodges, when they do their initiation, they don't have life in them. When you are initiated into the Eastern Star, when you are initiated in Freemasonry, that is something that you don't want to forget. Not that somebody's trying to put some board on your ass like you being initiated into the frat. No, this is something special. This is where you begin to transform. See, when you become a Mason, you are being transformed. It's different than being walking the sands, as a frat. It's a different thing. We couldn't use the book when I got my degree work, and that's a good thing. I was saying most watch years prior then get up and still don't know how to open. Oh my God. Yeah, the French still do things a little odd. Speaking about the French, this is why the French had a split in their jurisdiction. This is why the Grand Lodge of England only recognizes the national. I think it's the Grand. It's not the Grand Orient of France. They call it something else, because the Grand Orient of France took the Bible off the altar. And why did they take the Bible off the altar? Because in the true ancient customs of Freemasonry, you only had the burning tapers and the compass and square. The Bible itself, or the VSL itself, was introduced into Freemasonry it's only been about a couple of hundred years. It hadn't been that long. In the ancient customs of Freemasonry, there was no Bible on the altar at all. Period. This is why when you go visit certain jurisdictions, they don't have the Bible open on a particular passage. They don't. It's just open. And that's truth. Hey, it's me. I was raised. What's up, Danny boy? 102817. Welcome aboard. What's going on? The dish just might run away with the spoon. Illuminated light channel was weak. You up too? Ooh. Oh, I don't know nothing about, bro. I don't. What did he? Brother Lewis, I couldn't tell you what he was. You know, his channel. I'm you know, I go, I check his channel out. I like some of the things he says to say. You know, Illuminated Light. He's been on the show before. You know him. We need religion. You think we need this brother said we need religion. Okay, you can have it. You can keep your religion. Being following the channel for over a year now. Love what content is being given. Some serious. Oh, thank you, thank you. Some go to church for the hooting and the hollering and call it a good sermon. Look, I'm not that guy to bash anybody's religion. I'm not going to do that to you. But what I want you to do is to take a serious look at your religion. I do. Take a serious look at it. And why do you believe the way you believe? Is it because of your grandmama and your mama or your daddy? They took you to church every Sunday. So now when you've gotten older, you think you need to go get baptized and filled with the Holy Ghost. It's true. They took you to church every Sunday. You went to the BT meeting. You went to the youth meetings. You went to church. You went, not only did you go to your church, you went to visit a church. After you left your church. Come on now. I know what I'm talking about. And if you're in the South, you know you had to go on a morning's bench during the fall or spring revival. Come on. And right now, a lot of people are getting asked. They're gearing up for Easter. You know, the death and resurrection of Christ is coming. But why is Easter always on a different day? You know, it's either, you know exactly what I'm saying. Not, it's how they celebrate it, you know. And Easter is really a pagan holiday. I'm just saying. It needs to be put out there so you can look at what you're really involved with. And tonight we're talking about the Hierophant and the teachers and the teachings that they was able to bestow upon the students, you know, and it being initiated. See, the mystery schools that we don't talk about, from which Freemasonry comes from, those schools was passed down because everybody wasn't ready for the knowledge that they had. They wasn't. And now Masonry is so watered down to any and everybody is coming in and Masonry is losing that glit and that glow that it had, because once upon a time it distinguished who you were in your community. It meant something to be a Mason. To me, it still does. But to some people, they be like, man, fuck a Mason. What? They don't want to hear that crap. They don't. Greetings to everybody who's just coming on. I want to just send you a big shout out. You need a higher power, not a religion. I totally agree with that. You need a higher power, not a religion. Now, can somebody please tell me, if you're a Mason, why do Masons say the grand architect of the universe? Why? I know why. Let me put it to you this way. In my jurisdiction, I know why we do it. Let me put it to you that way. But if all was without religion, what some minds can understand equates to what? Chaos! Is that what you're trying to say? If not for religion, what minds couldn't understand would be chaos. Look, the ministers of today, as we see them, don't have any backbone to stand on. They don't. There's only a handful of ministers, real preachers, that are able to stand up and say certain things and don't care. It's only a handful. Most ministers are bought and paid for. It's truth. The educators, the Hierophants, those people, those individuals able to pass down sacred knowledge to their students. Those are the ones we need. It's true. We need Hierophants to be able to teach and pass down sacred knowledge and understanding. We really do. We have a few, we really have a few among us that I would consider Hierophants, and some have gone. Brother Clark, he was a Hierophant. He's gone. Listen to his lectures and how he taught, Just think about that. I was a Christian for 17 years, and the rest of my years, I was a Muslim. I'm 45 now. Do the math. All of them are the same in my personal view. I'm not bashing. I'm just saying. You know what? You're not going to get that argument out of me. You're not. You're not going to get that argument out of me, bro. But the only thing I will say depends on where you're at and the teaching that you get from wherever your source is. It makes you stand up and become stronger. See, as I've said many times before, a lot of people talk about Christ, but they don't talk about the mere fact that this figure Christ, went into the church and was whooping people out of the church because of what they was doing. They was misusing it. They don't talk about that. Most people who are religious and believe in Christ, they look at Christ as being this humble guy, this guy that turned the other cheek all the time. Christ was nowhere near that. Christ was no punk. But this is the figure that they put up before us. I'm just saying, this is how, all my life, I went to church with my mom and my brothers and sisters, and my dad went occasionally, and great choir singing, clapping. Sometimes you got a little, you get that little, you get that little joke. You want to get up and, you want to get up and clap and do other things. It's all good, and then when it's over, it's gone. That feeling that you had, that emotional rush that you had, is gone. Then what? Religion pays their bills. Oh my goodness. You're right. It does. It does that. So check this out. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to get ready to go real quick, but I'm going to share this with you. In Freemasonry, there is a certain word we use to describe individuals who are not Masons and who are trying to steal the secrets of Freemasonry or trying to eavesdrop. There's a certain word that we use for them. And the word is coward. And I just want to, for a moment, just to take a look at that word, because that word is so misused in Freemasonry till it's crazy. Okay, let me continue to go. I got to continue to go back. I'm coming close. That word is so, in Masonry, so misused, so jacked up, till I had to say, wait a minute. Why are they using that word that way? Let's look at this word that they call coward. Because I've been called a coward. You're a coward, you're eavesdropper, Hawkins. I've been called that. But let's really take a look at this word that is used in Freemasonry to describe people who try to steal secrets, or you claim that they're not real Masons and you throw that out there at them. A coward. One of a profane. This purely Masonic term is derived from the Greek word nok, Kunon, a dog. In the early ages of the church, when the mysteries of religion were communicated only to the initiate. So you had to be initiated in order to understand the mysteries and the teachings at that time. Under the veil of secrecy, they was doing it in secrecy. The infidel, the unbaptized profane were called dogs, a term probably suggested by such passages in the scriptures. Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs. And then it goes on to say, you can find it again. It says, beware of dogs, beware of the evil workers, beware of the Caucasian, hence as known of Nook, Kunon, or dog, meant amongst the elder fathers, one who had not been initiated into the Christian mysteries. That's what it meant. That's what it means to be a coward. You have not been initiated into the Christian mysteries. We use that word in Freemasonry. We do. You're a coward. You're an eavesdropper. That word applies to those who have been initiated into the Christian mysteries. This is why some of us don't understand that Christ in his journey was initiated along his path when he went out to fast 40 days and 40 nights. You hear no one talk about that. Some say it never existed, but I'm just saying. You don't hear anything. What happened? What went on? He was initiated. That's what happened. That's what went on. So, as I get ready to close tonight, I hope that you was able to get something out of this. Chew on the meat, throw away the fat. Really. I do hope and sincerely want you to get something out of anything I say, and go back and look it up for yourselves. And then when you come on and say, Brother Hawkins, I looked at what you said, that wasn't quite right. And if it's true, then I need to go back and do my own little reading, do my own little research. And I need your help to do that because you've seen something that I didn't see. And I don't mind you sharing that with me. I don't. So before we log off, just give your lodge a shout out tonight. Give your brothers of the craft, give your sisters of the order a shout out tonight before we log off. Let you know how much I appreciate you. This platform is John G. Jones Research Lodge number 147. We are aimed to bring, spread a little light of Freemasonry amongst the craft and to those who have not yet been initiated into the rights and privileges of this of Freemasonry. We just want to let you know how beautiful this organization is, regardless of your jurisdiction. Be it international, PHO, PHA, mainstream, wherever you may be at in your journey as a Mason. Put your energy in helping to make that good man become a better man. Be the example of how a Mason should carry himself and how he should treat the next person. That's what you should do. As a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, be the example of a woman in what she goes through in life. The daughter, the wife, the sister, the mother, the widow. Show her what is going. Show her that journey, that new sister, that journey. To the brothers that have, show that new inner apprentice that journey of what it is to become a master Mason. Be that example for him and how they should treat Mason, even if he's not a part of your jurisdiction. That is the call of Freemasonry in the Order of the Eastern Star. To have that light that sit on a hill, not up on your damn bed where nobody can see it. You should be able to break this down very simple to the profane person who wants to be a Mason or an Eastern Star. And if you can't do it, then practice and choose your words and how you want to be able to explain this great thing we call Freemasonry. So, with that being said, please give your Grand Lodge a shout out. Give your wherever you at, give it a shout out. If you're in Detroit, give it a shout out. If you're in Mississippi, just give it a shout out. This platform is that platform that you can come here, you can call into this show, you can have a good and decent, wholesome conversation without having to argue over issues. We're all trying to learn. We're all growing. And this show is that type of show. So, let me see what else I got before I log off. I have been to the temple on 5 continents. Oh, wow. That's deep right there, Spirit Dot. Brandon Lewis, don't get caught up with the Illuminated Light page. Now I can say I'm cool with him, but he doesn't belong on any Masonic body. But he doesn't belong to any Masonic body, not even a bogus one. He's just he just reads. I disagree with that. He does belong to a Masonic body, one that you probably don't recognize. He does. He legitimately belongs to a Masonic body. He really does. One you just don't recognize. And the thing is, when you're on channels like this, everybody is not going to agree with me. Everybody's not going to see it from my point of view. And that's the uniqueness and that's the beauty. But coming together and sharing that view brings everything, gives everything a 20 lens to where you're able to share your different views and opinions respectively. Brandon Lewis, you need to stop. Man, look, everybody knew when I went to Detroit. That was no secret, traveling man. And Tony, you didn't holler when you were in Detroit. Man, I broadcast live from Detroit. Everybody knew everybody who knows me knew I was going to Detroit. You know, so because we didn't touch bases or hook up, I was in Detroit. Yeah. Come on now. And if you really wanted to holler at me, you knew I was coming to Detroit. So let's not do that one. Nimrod Lodge, what's going on? Sacred Knowledge, I heard that. Yeah, Michael White, you missed it. We getting ready to log off. McNutt, hey, 214, Mississippi. Ain't you free and accept the Mason? Giving a big shout out to Harem, King David Grand Lodge out of Mississippi, John G. Jones Grand Lodge out of Mississippi, Stringer Grand Lodge out of Mississippi, Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Mississippi. What is another one out of there? Grant, let me see, I want to say William T. Grant Grand Lodge out of Mississippi. Those are about 5 Grand Lodges that I know that's out of Mississippi. Sending all of them a big shout out. Genesis Grand Lodge of Nashville, what's going on? I gotta get ready and go. I gotta get ready and go. I got my little dog outside. All right, dear. All right, Hamatari, what's up? All right, Oakland. You know what? Hamatari has a very beautiful Masonic building in Oakland, California. Man, I've gone there a few times. Brother, your lodge in Oakland, that's a beautiful temple. Let me tell you, that's a beautiful temple, brother. I told you I was coming in March. March? No, brother, I came for Savior's Day. You know, if I told you I was coming in March and that's what I said, then I owe you an apology. And that's a sincere apology. But no, I was coming to Detroit for Savior's Day. It's good to scoop something out before joining it. You guys are too divided, too segregated for me. You know what? I don't know your name, but it looks like, I don't know. I've seen the glyphics before. But brother, that's an individual thing. When you say you guys are too divided, too segregated, that's an individual thing. It truly is. People are going to have their differences. The beauty about Freemasonry is that when I see another brother and we're true to the craft, that's who we are. We're true to the craft. I'm not talking to those who come into the craft and they have not a clue. I'm talking to brothers who really understand what it is to be a Mason. That's who I'm talking to. Everything else is secondary. And that is what you must understand. And that is what you're going to get out of Freemasonry when you come to it. When you say that we're divided, that's an individual thing. Those, It's life. But the essence, the true essence of Freemasonry, and for those who have been around for a minute and understand it, man, that's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. I had a lodge that had esoteric meetings after we closed the lodge, but my lodge was desolated shortly. Really, after my third degree, King David Lodge number 2, Atlanta, Most Wishful Sons of Light Grand Lodge. There's a Most Wishful Sons of Light Grand Lodge in Atlanta? I didn't know that. But hey, if you are in Atlanta, you need another lodge, holla at me. I got one for you. I got one for you. If you're in Atlanta and you want to, you know, I got one for you, brother. I got one for you. Oh, yeah, Brother Michael White. That brother right there. Oh, man. Yeah. That brother right there shot some knowledge right there. I'm about peace and unity, building new instead of destroying. We all are. The true essence of masonry is what you just said, my brother. It's what you just said. It's about peace and unity, building instead of destroying. That's the essence. You just said what the essence of Freemasonry is all about. And it's true. It's true. Oh, I gotta go. Time is short, time is at hand. Peace, be well until we come across each other again. I wish your family health and strength. And man, let me tell you, you got to build yourself an altar in your home. Man, it's beautiful. I'm just throwing it out there. New Jersey in the house. Gotta roll, gotta go. New York, what's up? Peace to everybody. Life goes on. Keep hope alive and stay out them damn bushes and keep your light on. I'm out.